We are what I call a human capital spin-off of an existing European bus manufacturer, mainly in the field of airport buses.
Are you a design engineer? Or do you work in process engineering? Is your goal to improve process efficiency or enhance quality of your vehicles? Hi, I'm Marco, and you are watching the first episode of our new video show, Better Made with Adhesives. In this show, we want to spotlight latest achievements in adhesive bonding, and we want to highlight how adhesive bonding can help you in conquering your daily challenges. Martin, what can our viewers expect?
Well, Marco, you indicated already a little bit what it contains. I think our viewers can really expect how adhesives can help them in the design phase. So how do I design better my vehicle? How can I improve my assemblies? Or also, how can I speed up my process? But we go beyond that. We also want to showcase best demonstrated practice cases. We want to give insights to customers. And especially today, in our new episode, it's going to be very interesting. We talk about modularity, we talk about electrification, the name of the game today, and we talk also about new materials, composite materials.
That sounds great. And as Martin said, we prepared the first episode where David visited eVersum in Slovenia. Enjoy watching.
I'd like to welcome you to this edition of Better Made with Adhesives. I'm today here in Maribor in Slovenia, where we are meeting eVersum, which is a startup company active in the field of electrical vehicles for public transport. I'd like to introduce you to Pete Speck, who is giving us a tour today through the facilities.
Hi David, welcome to Maribor, welcome to eVersum. Happy to show you around our premises today.
It's very interesting to see how it evolved since I have been here the last time. So could you give our viewers introduction about who eVersum is, where you're coming from?
Basically, we are what I call a human capital spin-off of an existing European bus manufacturer, mainly in the field of airport buses. Multicultural team, and we will show you what this is all about a bit more.
It's interesting to meet a Swiss guy in Maribor.
Quite though.
What brought you and the team to get into e-mobility?
Basically, we already started at the last company we were together. That was a project. The ownership we had there were not fully behind e-mobility, so the management team decided let's only concentrate on that. We saw the future in e-mobility and in e-mobility solely, so split basically ways and said let's concentrate on electromobility, become an electric vehicle OEM solely and purely, mainly concentrating on passenger transport.
Yeah, and you started really from the green field, so I'm very excited to see some of the vehicles and get some more details.
Let's do that.
So Pete, we have now a look at the first of your vehicle, which is commercially available already. The eTrain, what makes the eTrain special?
This is indeed the first vehicle category we went into series production with. It's mainly for touristic applications, beach resorts, lake resorts, typical sightseeing activities.
So that's where you have these loco trains normally.
Oh, correct. So to date you have those Western looking, really locomotive trains out there. You see them a lot. There is around 8,000 of them just in Europe. And predominantly there are still diesel or gas engines underneath. So there is a huge need to replace all these combustion engine driven touristic trains out there with a more sustainable electric version.
Pete, you mentioned you built the entire vehicle on a modular concept. So what modularity are you offering?
That's correct. The locomotive dimension is basically always the same. What we do have is the possibility to deploy a different number of battery packs, so 2, 3 or 4 packs, depending on the customer need if it comes to the range of the vehicle overall. On the other hand, we have a huge modularity if it comes to the wagon following these locomotives. We can have 2 different widths, 180, 230 and 3 different lengths, which allows us to pretty much accommodate to every customer or homologation need which is out there in the market.
Hello guys. Hello. So Pete, that was an interesting tour around your facility and the eTrain. Now we are here in the eShuttle. What can you tell us about the eShuttle and your other vehicles in planning?
Welcome on board, first of all, of our eShuttle. It's our newest addition to the vehicle lineup. Special, different. We want to give a different impression. It basically hits a nerve in the market. It's that vehicle category that didn't exist in diesel times anymore. 8.5 meters down to 5.4 meters. So in between the Mercedes Sprinter and the full blast 12-meter city bus. That category didn't really exist in times of diesel buses because the price was more or less the same. Then no customer selected to choose a smaller vehicle. They were all getting a full blast 12-meter bus with an 13 liter diesel engine and driving around half empty. Now these days with electric drivetrains you can position yourself in between, and we're getting very good response from the market in that regard.
Now we have Ino with us. Ino, what is special when engineering a modular vehicle?
It is an interesting and doable concept in case you start from the early beginning as modular, and it does have some challenges, but they can be overcome by thinking in advance in this direction.
So modular build with different materials. What do you combine? What materials and how do you assemble?
We are using a steel frame with epoxy coating to which we attach GRP panels, glass, different types of plastic and other lining, wooden floor and so on. So all these materials are a challenge for the bonding agents used in the mix. We had great cooperation and help from Robert Zimczek here with Sika. And I think we are doing well with overcoming the challenges.
Now we have Robert with us from Sika Slovenia. Robert, how did you support eVersum in that project?
As always, we in Sika industry team starts in developing department. We start with basic project screening, and we need to answer on questions like which materials we will bond, what are the expected loads, what are the dimensions of bonded parts, and which adhesives and sealants should we use. I helped to eVersum with adhesive joint calculations and to suggest them the right adhesives and sealants.
So how did you do all the testing for this project?
I am glad to have support of my Sika colleagues from other countries. Company eVersum sourced their materials for their eShuttle and eTrain from different sources from all over the world. My colleagues from many countries helped me with adhesion testings. Because of their help, we can respond fast and we can provide the safe solution for eVersum.
Now Pete, we heard a lot about the way it's produced. Now looking into that facility you have and the plans, there might be other things to consider when scaling the vehicle production.
There is indeed potential to scaling it through giving away licenses. What Robert rightfully mentioned, we do have suppliers pretty much on a worldwide scale, and the same thing goes potential interest to get a license from us and produce those vehicles at different locations in the world. Might be SKD, might be CKD, and I'm pretty confident that Sika could support us once we will start our production through license agreements with partners somewhere in the world, as you were already mentioning, that network.
Yeah, I think that's really one of the powerful aspects of working with Sika. We are present in more than 100 countries with people like Robert, with technical support we can do. So looking at the vehicle, there is a lot of cameras and displays around. Is there more in this vehicle?
Good point. Basically, if you look at it, we call our vehicles e-born, so latest and greatest if it comes to technologies. There is one technology which we did not follow. This was the autonomous driving, AD, artificial intelligent area, which you have out there in modern transport concepts. For us as a company, we're simply too small. We could not do that, but we had a lot of potential customers, partners that talk to us in that regard. So we have decided as we speak here, and we are about from an engineering point of view to make our vehicle AD ready, so autonomous driving ready. By design, we would homologate then the vehicle and will up to an L0, so still with a safety driver or a driver fully equipped. But we would give the possibility to potential partners, operators which are out there, to bring it to L2, L4, so we can say we're the only supplier of those kind of buses that are fully AD ready and so ready for the future.
So nowadays on the street, I'm not seeing any autonomous vehicles. So where are those e-shuttles or autonomous vehicles being used in future?
Yeah, I mean, there is different business models out there. As I said, we want to provide the vehicle ready with a driver, but through project work, through different business models, it can then be selected to bring it to the different levels of autonomous driving, which will follow a development over time. It might take a bit less time, it might take a bit longer. So different business models out there. All I can say is we're fully ready and provide something to potential customers no one else can.
I have to say, now sitting in that vehicle, it's really nice to be here. Nice ambience, lighting, the seats. So great work.
What was one of our objectives, basically to also attract a younger generation, but also any kind of passenger that they would like to step onto that vehicle and get a good feeling. Life on board, e-born vehicles, modern, good feel. You tell me how you feel, but most people smile also when we are at exhibitions or deliver vehicles to our customers. You usually see a big smile, which is a good sign.
So Pete, this eShuttle looks so neat. Where are the batteries placed in that one?
The beauty of it, David, is that all our competitors put the battery on the roof. If you have a battery on the roof, there is no way that you can go for a lightweight construction. So what we had, if you look at it, we basically created and designed the entire vehicle around the batteries. The batteries are hidden in the floor. We had a battery developed that is only 13.5 centimeters high. So what you see in that length of the modularity. In the longest configuration as we have here, you have 9 battery packs in the floor, so 3 battery strings, 3 batteries for each segment, which you see here. And if you look at that very narrow floor area, this is only possible if you have such a narrow built battery that you can put in there.
So you said you developed your own battery pack. I see over there some of these packs. Maybe we have a quick look on those.
Yeah, that is correct, because additionally to what you see in the floor, for a longer range, if the customer requires that, we can deploy the same basic battery packs at the rear of the vehicle, which we can see later in a special compartment. I will quickly show you that as well, but it gives you a good impression on how thick such a battery pack is, 13.5 centimeters high, 1, 2, 3 packs. This is the same as you would see next to each other in the floor, or alternatively here at the rear of the vehicle.
So very interesting to see what you can do with a greenfield approach, starting from scratch, building something entirely new. To our viewers, I hope you enjoyed that session where we have been here outside at the customer in Maribor, and I like to hand back to the studio in Switzerland.
Welcome back. I think that was a pretty interesting episode. And by the way, the support provided by Robert Simsek, you can expect as well in your country. Now, Marco, what can our viewers expect for the next episodes?
If you want to see other interesting cases like the one of eVersum in Slovenia, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel or to our newsletter. See you next time when it's about Better Made with Adhesives.